Okay, so let me start with not what's trending, but let's talk about what really matters, what should be keeping you up at night, but maybe isn't because it's not on your feed, or at least it's not yet. As anti-Semitism is spreading its civilizational poison all over America, as Tom Homan yesterday warned of another 9/11 style attack on the homeland, as the Democrats strangely keep fighting for the rights of those who are literally spreading hate, violence, and death in our colleges and our streets, as Congress remains fast asleep, yet you're wide awake every night, kept awake by your growing debt and shrinking dollar. Let me share the latest from Jamie Dimon that nobody I have seen has shared with you yet. It was a talk that he gave at the Reagan National Defense Forum in California. Jamie Dimon, who is the CEO of J.P. Morgan Chase, one of the largest and most influential financial institutions on earth, he delivered a warning. And it wasn't about coming interest rates, not about inflation curves or crypto adoption or anything else. I want you to hear what he said about Bitcoin. Do we have that audio, please?
I was saying we shouldn't be stockpiling Bitcoin. We should be stockpiling guns, bullets, tanks, planes, drones, rare earths. We know what we need to do. This is not a mystery.
Did you say stockpiling Bitcoin?
I said we shouldn't be stockpiling Bitcoin.
Oh, it shouldn't be. Okay.
We should be stockpiling bullets.
Okay.
The military guys tell you that, if there's a war in the South China Sea, we have missiles for 7 days. Okay, come on. I mean, we can't say that with a straight face and think that's okay.
Do you notice what the reporter did on stage? She was trying to do a gotcha. You're saying we should stock Bitcoin? Oh, okay. All right. She missed the whole point. He's referencing the Pentagon data saying we only have enough precision-guided missiles for 7 days of sustained conflict. I don't know. Does that sound like a problem for anybody? Let that settle in. A week. That's what stands between deterrence and desperation if war would break out in the South China Sea. 7 days. And remember what I shared with you yesterday, the drone bombing in Ukraine or by Ukraine that wiped out an estimated 1/3 of the Russian nuclear strategic air command. 1/3 of Russia's nuclear strategic air command. Ukraine, they did that. That's a country that's almost in third world status, no real military left, and certainly no missiles. They did it with drones. Imagine what could be done here with open borders and enemies like China and Iran, enemies all over the world. Now, I want you to understand, Jamie Dimon is not a guy that usually deals in hyperbole. He's not a man who chases the headlines. His words, and he knows this, move global markets. The good news is on this one, nobody will pay attention to him because nobody is interested in telling you the truth on how dire our situation actually is. His silence in most cases is his statement. That's the way they work at those levels. So when he breaks that silence and he does it this bluntly, you better believe it's calculated. Now, most of his peers are still peddling ESG slideshows and blockchain buzzwords, but Dimon stepped into the national stage and said, we need to get real and we need to get ready. And here's the thing. He's not talking to hedge funds or Pentagon brass. He knows. Look at her response. Oh, you're talking Bitcoin? We should all stockpile. He's talking directly to you. You. This isn't about rare earth or tanks. This is about a new era of scarcity. That's what you have to grasp from what Jamie Dimon was actually talking about. He is saying there's a reckoning with reality that most Americans and CEOs and everybody else are not prepared for. Play cut 2 of this, please.
You are going to see a crack in the bond market, okay? It is going to happen. And I tell this to my regulators, some of who are in this room, I'm telling you it's going to happen, and you're going to panic. I'm not going to panic. We'll be fine. We'll probably make more money, and then some of my friends will tell me that we like crises because it's good for J.P. Morgan Chase. Not really. I just don't know if it's going to be a crisis in 6 months or 6 years. And I'm hoping that we change both the trajectory of the debt and the ability of market makers to make markets. Yeah, it's coming. It's just part of all the stuff we talked about. And unfortunately, it may be that we need that to wake us up. It's an unfortunate thing.
Cut 3, please.
And all that. Do you think people in rural cities, do you think people in inner cities thought they were getting anything? Do you think that those people think that the American government is fair and competent and that this was in their best interest? Their schools don't work. They're not getting the skills they need. And you heard that just now. So we got to acknowledge these. And I also call it blue tape. Because, Republicans, you generally don't like red tape. You understand the devastation of it. But, most Democrats, they love it. They want more of it. And they want to make it so confusing you can't even meet the rules, so you get punished and fined afterwards. Celebrate our virtues: freedom of speech, freedom of religion, freedom of enterprise, equal opportunity, family, God, country. And you can acknowledge the flaws that we have, which are extraordinary, what we did to the black population for years. Don't denigrate the great things of this country, because those are two different things. If you have in any team, if you put a team on the field and the team's torn apart, they're going to lose. And that's kind of us right now. We're not a team anymore, and we don't collaborate. We don't talk that much to each other. Deal with our policies, and this is the enemy within. We've got to fix our permitting, our regulations, our immigration, our taxation, which I think they're on their way. We have to fix our inner city schools, our healthcare system.
Okay, so let's unpack this here for a second. His dismissal of Bitcoin, first of all, not a continuation of his longstanding skepticism. If you listen to all of the things he was saying, this is something much more urgent. In a time of instability, Bitcoin becomes an abstraction. It has no mass. It has no utility. Now, I'm a Bitcoin guy. I believe in Bitcoin. But Bitcoin depends on electricity and the internet and a collective belief. Bullets, they don't care if you believe in bullets or not. Fuel, doesn't matter if you believe in fuel or not. Food, these are not ideas. These are lifelines. Do you hear that what he was saying? Bullets, fuel, food, lifelines. Now, don't get me wrong. He's not, suddenly a patriotic prepper in chief. What he is doing is giving voice to something that the elites all know, but usually whisper behind closed doors. And he's saying it out loud now. The veneer, we learned this after 9/11. Remember how on 9/11, 9/12, 9/13, we realized, oh my gosh, this thing could collapse in a heartbeat. We all knew the veneer of civilization, the veneer of order is so thin. Even the largest company in the world is dangerously exposed. The largest economy in the world, ours, exposed. I want you to look at the numbers here. 80% of our rare earth minerals come from China. Basically everything from missile guidance to smartphones. 80% of it comes from China. What happens if they want to shut that off? What happens if we go to war? What happens if we just don't have the fuel to run, across the ocean? What happens to us? Our military, recruitment shortfalls time and time again, outdated infrastructure. I mean, how many trillions of dollars have we spent in the last 20 years on infrastructure projects? Look at our airports. Look at our munitions stockpile. It wouldn't last a long weekend if trouble really happened. And cyber attacks. One single cyber attack could shut down the grid for weeks. And what happens? See, here's the thing that you have to hear from Jamie Dimon. He is not saying prepare out of paranoia. He's saying it out of pattern recognition. Pattern recognition. You need to get good at pattern recognition. The world is no longer stable. And it hasn't been. I don't know if you've noticed this for a while. But most people, all your neighbors, they're too distracted to notice. Cakes and circuses. Dimon went on to blast the, regulatory obsession, in order to make life difficult. Did you hear what he just said? Quote, Democrats, they love it. They want more of it. And they want to make it more confusing. So you can't even meet the rules. You'll get punished and fined afterward. For the last 40 years, we have lived on the assumption that convenience was safety, that digital meant durable, that global markets meant good. But history doesn't move in a straight line. It turns, it turns around sometimes. It bends, it recoils. And in that recoil, the essentials of survival never change. Shelter, energy, food, protection, human trust in one another. That's the most important. We don't have it. What his message was very clear. It cuts against every modern comfort we've built our lives around. Here's a giant bank saying you've built your life and we've built our life around things that are not real. He's not saying abandon innovation. He's saying don't bet your future on intangibles. So his solution is the same solution we've been talking about here on this program forever. Celebrate our virtues. Celebrate our freedoms, our freedom of speech, our freedom of religion, our freedom of enterprise, equal opportunity, family, God, and country. Those are his words. And acknowledge the flaws of the country, but don't denigrate the great things that this country has done. They're two very different things. And start talking to one another. So here's what I want you to consider. What would you do if the lights went out? Not for a storm, but because a server farm in Taiwan was hit. What would you trade your Bitcoin for at the grocery store shelves if they were empty? What does wealth mean in a world where your phone doesn't work and your bank is a blinking error message? What does that wealth mean? This isn't about fear-mongering. This is about grow up, America. Maturity. We are long overdue for a serious conversation about self-reliance in this country. Not the kind you buy in bulk from a website. The kind you live through community, preparation, clarity, intelligence, critical thinking. Yes, have food and water, not because you're afraid, but because you're a responsible human being. Know your neighbors, not because you're social, but because you need each other if systems fail. Understand your rights, not because you just want to use them, but because you know someday you may have to use them. I want you to know this whole message from him, I believe, and definitely from me, is not about war. It's not warning you about war or famine or anything else. It's warning you, wake up. Wake up. Ignore what's happening today at your own peril. We've spent far too many days and years now worshiping the screen and the stock ticker and the illusion that problems can be innovated away. But history has a really brutal way of humbling people and civilizations that trade resilience for comfort. This is a moment that demands discernment. Are you living in a way that will actually allow you to survive real shocks? Or are you, like so many people, including me on many things, chained to the conveniences that will vanish overnight if the world sneezes? Jamie Dimon said it very clearly, and let me just say it again. Bullets over Bitcoin, tangible over theoretical, preparation over posturing. The man who runs the most powerful bank in the world is not hoarding hashtags. He's stockpiling reality. Shouldn't we all be doing that? Sponsor this half hour is Preborn. Did you see? Do we have the video of the baby in the womb growing? I just saw it on Pat's show here a second ago. Do you have that? Just roll that behind there. This is an amazing video that has just been released. The time elapse of every single day in the life of a womb. If you're watching BlazeTV, it's an incredible thing. Look at this. Every day the baby is growing. Here's week 12, and you can count the fingers. It's nuts. Now, here's the sad truth. Since the repeal of Roe versus Wade, abortion numbers have not gone down. They've gone up. In 2023 alone, 1 million abortions were performed in America. That's the highest in more than a decade. And despite the laws, despite the hope, the reality is we're losing more lives than ever before. Thank goodness Preborn is working to change that, and I know you care. I have cared, but unfortunately remained silent most of my career. It's only until the last 10 years or so, Stu and I talked about it, and we went, why are we standing on the sidelines of this? This is the most important thing of our life. And we started talking about it, and we have found advocates, people who are actually doing something, and Preborn is one of those mission-driven groups that are actually changing things for the better. If you have the mean, would you consider a leadership gift to save babies in a big way? Tax-deductible donation of $5,000 will sponsor Preborn's entire network in the country for 24 hours. That will rescue 200 babies just by giving moms an ultrasound. The chances of life doubles. Just dial pound 250, say the keyword baby, pound 250, keyword baby, or visit preborn.com/Beck. Sponsored by Preborn, preborn.com/Beck. 10 seconds, station ID. Well, let's say hello to Stu. Hello, Stu.
Hello, Glenn. How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
Pretty well.
Yeah. Good. Did you hear Tom Homan yesterday? Because I'd like to wreck that for you. Did you hear Tom Homan yesterday and what he said about the next 9/11?
He's a little concerned.
Little concerns, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Cut 11, please. Play this.
I have annoyingly asked you the question over and over again. When you have known terrorists and murderers and rapists and cartel members and gang members in the country, and you have them, 12 million, 15 million, 20 million, nobody knows the actual number. And what did we learn from 9/11/01? They were at war with us. We were not at war with them, the 9/11 Commission report. They're plotting, planning, and scheming. This is a terror attack. I'm worried about the big terror attack, and of course my prayers, my thoughts, my sympathies go out to the victims here. But do you not agree that if we don't find these people soon, that we are at risk of a 9/11 or worse?
It's coming. I mean, why did 2 million illegal aliens pay more to get away? They could have paid half of what they paid. Cross the border, turn yourselves into a border patrol agent, get released that same day, get a free airline ticket to the city of their choice, get a free hotel room, get 3 meals a day, plus free medical care and work authorization. 2 million people paid more to get away. They didn't want to be vetted. They didn't want to be fingerprinted. Why?
There's a real problem coming. We're going to talk about that in about a half an hour. Stand by.
This is Glenn Beck.
By the way, that was Sean Hannity a minute ago, where Sean and I are going to be at IFCJ. We're doing a fundraiser and bringing awareness to the plight of the Jewish people tonight here in West Palm Beach. Let me tell you about our sponsor this half hour. It's American Financing. Life comes at you so fast. Sometimes, is it LifeLock? I'm sorry, LifeLock. Let me tell you about LifeLock then. LifeLock. Thank you. I want you to know that when you have a cyber attack, when somebody is coming after your information, there's no loud warning, there's no breaking glass, no smoke. There's just information being moved in ones and zeros through the internet, your name, your address, your social security number. There's something that you can do to protect yourself, because you'll not see this. Something will be off one day. There'll be a charge you didn't make, a bill you didn't recognize, a credit report that says you just opened an account in a state you've never been to. And by that time, it's already happened and it is too late. Don't play around with identity theft. Get the people that can actually help you protect yourself with LifeLock. Save up to 40% off your first year with promo code Beck. Call 1-800-LifeLock, 1-800-LifeLock, or head to lifelock.com. Promo code Beck. Save 40%.
Sign up for the free email newsletter at glennbeck.com. Every story we talk about every day.
I'm a very, very lucky man. Every day I get to work with two of my best friends, Stu and Pat. Pat's joining us from Pat Gray Unleashed. And Pat, it was 14 years ago today that I announced I was leaving Fox News and starting GBTV.
That's incredible. Wow.
You were there. Stu was there. I mean, remember how scared we were of that?
Oh, yeah.
My gosh,
That's a pretty big deal.
This is suicide. What are we doing?
You couldn't even stream video yet. Like, it was...
I know,
right? It was insane. Everything buffered.
I mean, We have some audio from the press when I announced this and said, we're mocking me and saying, good luck on the internet. Because nobody was, it was weirdos that were doing podcasts. It's still weirdos doing podcasts, but it was weirdos doing podcasts at the time. The podcasts were not like they are now. And nobody was streaming video. That was insane. Live streaming video. And my goal then, 14 years ago, was to crack the back of the mainstream media and give other voices a chance to be heard. And look at the mainstream media now.
Glenn, I pitched you in the break a story I wanted to do for you and Pat. Can we do it now? Because it fits with what we're talking about.
Sure. Yeah. Sure.
So there's a story that I think years and years ago would have been a major story. Like we would have been talking about it maybe over multiple days. We would have been dissecting it. We would have been going back in the history of it. And I don't think either one of you even know it occurred.
Really?
Wow, what is it?
In fact, I was looking through the prep. I didn't see it in the prep at all. As literally zero reaction whatsoever, which I think 10 years ago, 15 years ago would have been a big story that we would have been talking a lot about. Any ideas of what it could be?
No.
So last night, they debuted a new permanent anchor of NBC Nightly News.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, my
that's
gosh.
right. Wow, that's right.
I didn't know
that. Would have been a story.
Would have been
10
a
years
huge
ago.
thing, right?
Huge
Nobody even
story.
knows
Huge.
it happened now.
Nobody even knows.
I don't even know who they replaced.
I don't either. They replaced...
you know him.
I do.
Lester Holt?
Jeffy's favorite
Lester
guy.
Holt.
Lester Holt.
Yes.
Lester Holt.
Yes.
Okay, yeah.
But I don't know who they replaced him with.
I do, because I looked it up.
Okay, all right.
Tom Llamas.
Oh, of course, Tom Llamas.
Tommy Llamas.
Tommy Llamas.
Tommy Llamas.
Tommy Llamas.
Okay.
Yeah, Tommy Llamas.
Yeah.
Tom
It's
Llamas.
amazing.
Of the Llamas family.
Of the Llamas group,
the, NBC Llamases.
NBC Llamas, yes. Not the
I have to tell you, I want to thank this audience. You have been with me from the beginning. I meet people all the time that's like, they're so proud. They're like, I was one of the founding members. I was there. People were subscribed 6 months before we even had a product. And I just can't thank you enough for everything you did. Look at what you've accomplished with Blaze.
Yeah.
Look at the impact that Blaze paved the way for Daily Wire, for all of it.
Yeah.
For all of it. Megyn Kelly,
sure.
Tucker Carlson.
Right.
This was the one that paved the way, and I can't thank you enough. Mission accomplished. Mission accomplished.
And think about, because it was totally unrelated, had no idea it was the 14-year anniversary of this, but I was going to bring that story up to you. It is the exact thing you were talking about back then, that we're going to get to a period where none of this matters. None of what the mainstream media doing even matters. The NBC, Tom Brokaw, NBC Nightly News, it was a thing that everyone watched every night. It's now so irrelevant. I think nobody in this audience had any idea that they had just switched permanent anchors of that. That is an institution in this country. And now it's a giant zilch.
It really
and a lot
is.
of it
amazing.
comes to do with the transition, Glenn, you tried to start 14 years ago.
What do you mean, tried to start? I think we did.
And
start.
failed.
My God, all of a sudden he's demeaning.
Trying not to. I don't like giving you credit for things. So I do think that was a big part of it.
And you guys, I wanted to say not only thank you to the audience, but thank you. I'm not going to get teary-eyed on this. You guys have been with me through war, it seems, and you have always been loyal to me, always watched my back. You are true friends, and I can't thank you enough for all of the years that you've been with me. Thank you.
Same to you.
All
Keep
right.
going, because your voice is starting to waver, and I sense a total breakdown any second.
let me play something now from CNN, which just shows you how out of touch they are. Look at the veteran pollster from CNN as he's going through the latest polling about Republicans and Democrats. Listen to this.
The first 5 months of the Donald Trump presidency, right, the first 4 months of the Donald Trump presidency, that you expect that Democrats would have this massive lead on the economy. It ain't so. It ain't so. The party that is closest to your economic views, in November of 2023, it was the Republicans by 11 points. Now it's still within that range, still within that margin of error. plus 8-point advantage for the Republican Party. How is that possible, Democrats? How is that possible? If it was just this one CNN poll, that would be one thing. But take a look at Reuters Ipsos. What do we see here? Party with a better economic plan. Well, in May of 2024, just before Donald Trump was reelected president, Republicans had a 9-point advantage. Look at where we are now in May of 2025. The advantage actually went up by 3 points. The Democrats are down by 12 points on the economy. This speaks to Democratic problems on the economy better than basically anything that you could possibly look at.
Okay, stop. He's then trying to explain this is a problem for the Democrats, but he doesn't even understand how that's happening. I mean, I don't understand how he doesn't understand. He's like, how is this possible, Democrats, that they have a better economic plan and people are liking it? I don't know. What is the Democratic economic plan? What is that plan?
You can read it in a book by Marx.
Here's the. I mean, he answers his own question here. Play the next cut. Listen.
Which is the party of the middle class has been a huge advantage for Democrats. I have polling from NBC going all the way back since 1989 when Democrats had a 23-point advantage. 2016, a 17-point advantage. But by this decade, we already started seeing declines back in 2022 where you saw that Democrats led, but only by 4 points, well within the margin of error. And now in our latest CNN poll among registered voters, which is the party of the middle class, it is tied. This, I think, speaks to Democratic ills more than anything else. They have traditionally been the party of the middle class. No more. Donald Trump and the Republican Party have taken that mantle away, and now a key advantage for Democrats historically has gone adios amigos, and now there is no party that is the party of the middle class.
This guy, I mean, he's incredible. He's incredible.
I will say that's Harry Enton, and of the people over at CNN, Harry is actually a pretty darn good data analyst. He's actually pretty solid.
But he doesn't get it. I mean, how can you be a pollster and not see how? Look at they're not the party of the middle class. You know why? Because look at who is running it. It is all elites and wild rich people that are completely out of touch with anyone who even relates to Donald Trump liking working behind the counter at McDonald's.
And who was it that talked about during the campaign the price of eggs, the price of gas, the price that middle-class people care about? It was the billionaire in the race. He's the one who cared about it.
I know. Listen to this. This is Nate Silver. He said, although I've seen this written about elsewhere, I was honestly surprised about how strong the relationship is, the demographics on who takes antidepressants and goes to therapy. Listen to this. Among voters who report poor mental health, liberals outnumber conservatives 45% to 19%. Those who report excellent mental health, conservatives outnumber liberals 51 to 20. So the young men, this is Nate Silver, so the young men that Democrats have trouble with aren't necessarily the ones who have been captured by the conservative manosphere or have been looking for a helping hand. Rather, it's those who report relatively high mental health and see Democrats as being too neurotic and perhaps constraining their opportunity to compete and reap rewards of their work. I mean, that's Nate Silver.
Wow.
He's totally right on that.
I know, and they need a study to figure out what they're doing wrong. Oh, my gosh.
I will say, though, I think like Harry Enton in some ways echoes that, though, right? And I think it's 100% true. He mentioned it at the end. The reason for that transition is Donald Trump.
Yes.
Full stop. I mean, that is this is the change he's brought to the party, and that is the reason for that success, because Donald Trump has been able to connect to those voters.
Right. And can I ask you, because I think Donald Trump reflected the change that was already there. I mean, he really is the Tea Party candidate in many ways. He reflected the change. He embodies what so many people were saying and feeling, and he just stood. You just, when everybody else was taken down time and time again, and they would then start to, fudge and melt and their spine would go crooked. He just didn't. And I think that's why he's the leader, because he acted like a leader who actually believed in what he was saying.
Let me push back a little bit gently on that. In that, I think I don't think he's the Tea Party candidate at all. I don't think it's. I think it's a totally different view of the role of government, and I think he is connected to a lot of those voters who maybe didn't like the Tea Party approach. I mean, like, this is a chart I was looking at yesterday. Listen to this.
Hang on just a second. Can I comment on that before you get there?
Yeah, sure.
I think you're right. What I mean by Tea Party is the one that is disconnected from the government and saying the government is out of control. It is run by nothing but elites, and it is the problem. When I say that, I don't mean the Tea Party solution. I mean the thing that he is a reflection of what the Tea Party felt was the problem. His solution is different, but he's responding to the same problems. Do you disagree with that?
It's an interesting point. I think what I was going to, I think, does disagree with that. That doesn't mean that there aren't elements of what you're saying that are completely accurate. But let me give you this. This is the question that has been asked for a very long time. Some people think the government is trying to do too many things. It should be left to individuals and businesses. Others think that government should do more to solve our country's problems, which is closer to your view. That number of people saying the government's trying to do too much, like, I want it out of my life, that number peaked at the Tea Party. Okay, it was well over 60% of Americans. Since that moment, that has totally, we're on a roller coaster drop on that poll. It went from 63, 64%. It dropped down to under 50 to 48% in like 2023, and is now dropped again to 41%. So now we are overwhelmingly a country that believes the government has to do more. And the movement there is not on the left. It is not on the left. The left already believed the government needed to do more.
So
it's on our side of the aisle.
Let me ask you, if this is just me trying to look at, the glass half full, is that a response of the government isn't doing anything? They're not arresting people. They're not upholding the law. They're not doing investigations. They're not holding people responsible. I mean, I'm wondering if that response is not that we want more Medicare, Medicaid, everything else. It's that we want the government to do what it's supposed to do. Here's an idea. Win a war and then leave. Don't win and then lose the war on leaving. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I think there's some of that's probably worked in there, though we've had eras of that in the past, and these numbers have never looked like this in this country. Never. Ever since they've been asking the poll, it has never looked like this. This is a different country than we've ever lived in. And look, that might be a good thing. Might be something that everybody's excited about. Not particularly on my side of right now. I'm not excited about that particular development, though some of the stuff we've talked about in this break, I am excited about. But that is a big change.
Yeah, I will tell you this. You remember this and bring this up next hour, because I'm going to show you some things next hour and the hour after that make that number disturbing. I didn't know that number, and that makes it very, very disturbing. Thanks, Pat, for coming in, and thanks for your friendship and all the years of support.
Thank you.
All right, let me tell you about Patriot Mobile. When the world feels upside down, you start to notice the little things. The cashier who still says, God bless you. The school that starts with a pledge. The neighbor who flies the flag without shame. The last normal things in a country that is trying so hard to forget what normal even means. And that's why Patriot Mobile matters more than you even think, because it's easy to miss. It's a cell phone company, right? I mean, same coverage as the big guys, same service. What do I care? Well, here's why you care. You'll find out that that Patriot Mobile is the only Christian conservative mobile company in America. They support pro-life ministries, first responders, veterans, faith-based nonprofits, and suddenly it's not just a cell phone company. And you might say, well, that's nice, but I don't want to get involved. You're already involved, but you're involved in the opposite things. Every time you pay your bill, especially with Verizon, you're helping more abortions happen because they help fund Planned Parenthood. Christian conservative phone company, that's like one of the last normal things. in a world that's spinning off its axis, sometimes you need to grab onto something that still makes sense, and that thing is Patriot Mobile. Make the switch today. Call 972-PATRIOT. Use the promo code BECK. You'll get a free month of service. Keep your phone, change your phone, keep your number, change your number. Doesn't matter. They'll make it super easy. PatriotMobile.com/BECK. 972-PATRIOT. 972-PATRIOT. PatriotMobile.com/BECK.
This is Glenn Beck.
Do you remember the good old days when you could wake up and you'd have a cup of coffee and that was kind of it? Like it was just a really good cup of coffee and you moved on with your day. Today, with coffee, I mean, it feels like every coffee company in particular is bad with the woke stuff. Like it's always some agenda. It's always some big stance they're taking. It's something that doesn't match your traditional American beliefs. 2025, that disconnect feels greater than ever. But Blackout Coffee is here. They've got a solution. It's a family-owned company. It roasts premium beans in America, aligning quality coffee with authentic American craftsmanship and your values. Quality is at the heart of Blackout Coffee. They've got dark roasts. They've got medium blends. They've got specialty flavors that give you that kind of variety that you're looking for. You've got the busy days. They've got the instant coffee. They've got these two. They've got these great cold brew cans you can just pop with you whenever you're there. My wife has brought this into her business, and she's just like carrying them now in the fridge at her business. She's like, everyone loves them. Blackout Coffee has convenient solutions for you, no matter what you need. So go to blackoutcoffee.com. Get hooked up with them. You're going to love their coffee, and they're going to love the fact that they're not preaching to you all the time. Blackoutcoffee.com/Blaze. Use the promo code Blaze. Get 20% off your first order. It's blackoutcoffee.com/Blaze. Promo code is Blaze. Start each day with a coffee that stands for something meaningful. It's blackoutcoffee.com/Blaze. Promo code Blaze.
All right. Welcome to the Glenn Beck Program. As I said, I'm at WJNO in West Palm Beach today. We're doing a fundraiser tonight for IFCJ, the International Fellowship of Christians and Jews. There's more information now on Mohammed Solomon. He is the guy who was here illegally, overstayed his visa twice. I thought that was the number one thing that the Patriot Act was supposed to do, right? Fix the people overstaying on their visas. I thought that was, but apparently we don't. We're going to need a super Patriot Act soon, especially if Tom Homan is right. And we're going to talk about that coming up here in just a second. This was not a lone wolf, and it wasn't spontaneous. The additional information and what it means to you and your family and our civilization coming up in just a minute.
This is Glenn Beck.